Episode 3, How to Eat Shit. Welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about alter egos, what they are, how to use one, and then 5 ways you can create your own alter ego. So the goal of today is that you're going to come out with it. You're going to come out with 5 things you can do to build your own alter ego that you can use to essentially crush whatever you want to crush. Firstly, what is an alter ego? In the simplest way to put it, it's an alternative personality, right? So it's like a sub-personality to you. So for me, I'm Ethan. My alter ego that I guess I've fallen into and created is called the Phlegm. Yeah, I know, I wish I got something different, but here we are. Now, it feels really crazy when you're talking about this because it almost feels like a split personality. And in a way, it kind of is. The only real major difference between, like a DID or split personality versus an alter ego is the fact that with an alter ego, you're in control of it. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. You actually understand that you're not loopy, right? I know the Phlegm is not actually a different person. However, the more life you give it, the more real it does feel. Now, why should you create an alter ego? In professional settings or any setting where you want to be the best version of yourself, creating something that's larger than yourself or something that is a little bit, different to yourself in the ways that you want to be different can help you show up when you need to show up better. So for example, if you're someone who lacks confidence and you create an alter ego around someone who's confident, when you're embodying that alter ego, you can actually feel a difference in your confidence. It's kind of like putting on sunnies and, normal glasses and then going, I feel smarter. It's extremely odd, however, it works. And if you look at people that have alter egos, time after time, you see that happening, right? You see Dwayne Johnson being The Rock. You see Kobe being the Black Mamba. You've got LeBron, who apparently has 4. I don't really know what those 4 are, but apparently he has 4. And then you have, David, who's Goggins, right? Now, for me, from my own personal experiences, what I've created for myself is, the Phlegm, which essentially is a person with a different set of values, a different personality, almost like the extremist version of a few traits that I currently have, right? Now, when I first started using this concept, I felt it was always like an accident. It was always like a bit of a laugh. My friends would be like, the Phlegm, or I would say, the Phlegm's here and he's not backing down. The more and more life that I've given it, right? The more and more I've leaned into it, the more and more I can pull it out in moments of need. So for an example, right, because it's quite fresh for me, I attempted the 24-hour assault bike world record and got it, which was a couple of weeks ago. My hands are still cooked from it. So was my ass. That's not the point. And there was some times where I was in the gutter, in the mental gutter. I felt like actual shit. And for one of my triggers when I bring out my alter ego is certain type of music and sunglasses. So you can't see it on the podcast, but I'm wearing these sunnies. These are the Phlegm sunnies. It's fucking ridiculous, I know, but it works. And at the end of the day, we just care about what works. But I've got engraved on these the Phlegm. Anyway, when I put these sunnies on, when I get the music going, something inside of me switches and the Phlegm's here, right? Now, the Phlegm is the extreme version of me. So what that means is it's he's got no real empathy. He's got this real dark side where he will not back down. The Phlegm is willing to die. Now, the reason you would create an alter ego, besides the obvious performance benefits, is that's an unrealistic personality to have day to day, right? I don't want to be this crazy motherfucker 24/7. I don't want to be this relentless human all day, every day that has, never backs down, has no emotion. I don't want to be that removed human being. So giving life to this alter ego allows me to kind of switch between the two. And that's powerful, and you can use that for performance. So anyway, I want to go through the 5 reasons or the 5 ways you can build your own alter ego, right? So the first one is set your intention. Why do you want an alter ego? What's it for? Is it for you to show up better in like a classroom setting? Probably not if you're listening to this. Is it for you to, have more confidence throughout the day? I don't know, when you're doing something, that's a silly example. Or is it like what I've created it for, which is so when you get into a really, really dark spot in, like a physical setting, you've got this alter ego that can pull you out of it. So the first thing is set your intention. Now, if you're trying to actually do this, right? Like you're not just listening to this and going, oh, well, oh yeah, I might do this. I might give it a little bit of life. If you properly do these 5 steps, you'll come out of it with a badass alter ego. So write down or list what the actual intention of it is. Like, what do you want out of it, right? The more you can give life to this person, quote unquote person, right? The more it'll benefit you, the more you'll actually get out of it. So the first one, set your intention. The second one is figure out the actual personality behind this person, right? So let's say for the phlegm, right? Because it's the one that I understand. So for the phlegm, like his goal is to get me out of those dark spots. Now the phlegm's personality, he has a whole different set of personality traits to like what I would have. So we share some similarities. Fuck, I actually feel like a psychopath talking about this. Just pause for a second here, right? Like I'm just describing a second personality to myself like it's a real thing. And you can tell, like that's how serious this is to me. Like I have full on created a split personality that I can control so I can pull him in and out of my day as I need. So you're going to figure out its personality. Now, if you listen to the episode I did prior to this, ideally you would have listened to that before this, but that's about building your brand Bible. Now those exercises that you would do to build yourself, I would literally do those exact same things for your personality, split personality, for your alter ego, not your split personality, because that's fucking crazy. If you didn't listen to that episode, those are things like values, purpose, passions, like what value statements you have. So how do you want to show up in the world? For example, for me with the phlegm, it's like someone who never, ever backs down from a challenge. Someone who doesn't just not back down from the challenge, but actually fucking generates energy from how fucking disgusting the challenge is. So it's about giving that personality more and more and more life, right? So work out all of the different personality bits you can to this alter ego. Work out all of the actions that this alter ego would take, the things that define this person, and then you've got step 1 and 2. So now you've got an alter ego with an intention and an alter ego with a little bit of personality to it. The third one is creating a distinct image. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you need to wear a cape and put on fucking clothes, like Superman clothes, whatever it is. It can be the smallest thing. Like I said before, for me, I got sunnies engraved. So when I put those sunnies on, it helps kind of get me into that state, right? The other thing with this and creating distinct image is that sometimes the simpler it can be, the easier, because you don't want to create something that you can't, if you create this crazy image, how are you going to bring that image into the day or into the performance or into the event? So sometimes something simple can be good here too. But what you're trying to do with these steps is every time you nail one of these steps, you're giving that alter ego more and more life, and it gets easier to bring that out, and it gets easier to embody those traits. The fourth one is picking a name. Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. Just do it something simple to you. Don't do the phlegm. That's fucking mine. Back off. But anything else, fair game, right? So pick a name. And then the last one is adopting like some type of call to action, some type of mantra. This for me and how I did this one, which I don't even know how this started, to be honest, but this would be like, I'll tell you a bit of a story. So I was in a really, really dark place when I was dragging the car, doing the 48-hour carpool, 100 Ks, yep. And I remember when I was in this really, really dark place, what I did was I put on my sunnies that I got engraved. And at this point, it wasn't even really, the alter ego wasn't as large as it is now. But I put these sunnies on and I put this song on. And so I remember something clicking in my mind. And I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. we are on. I'm not backing down. I started like redefining what I wanted out of this. I started feeling energy. And I think that moment's kind of stuck with me now. And now I've just started calling that the phlegm. So that way when, like what happened with the challenge a couple of weeks ago, is when I'm in the shitter, rather than just like, come on, bring the alter ego out, I can put on the sunnies. That's my mantra. That's my call to action. I put the sunnies on, I play something in my music or whatever it is, and then I can feel that switch. It's like it's a rush of endorphins. It's a rush of clarity. It's a rush of energy. And all of a sudden now I've flicked on that alter ego switch, and now I feel like I'm in control. But phlegm is in control, right? So I know it feels a bit crazy. I know especially when you first start and you haven't got something, this will feel like a really weird task. But I guarantee if you wanted to stretch outside of your comfort zone, if you wanted to do some fucked up stuff, this is such a good way of doing it. Because and you can use alter egos in like a non-performance setting in terms of you don't have to be in a challenge or in the situation when you use your alter ego, right? Like you could think about your alter ego when you're actually trying to attempt something that's out of your comfort zone. So, if you think about a marathon, you might not feel comfortable to do a marathon, but the phlegm, oh God, your alter ego is, right? Your alter ego is the type of person who's not going to back down from a challenge. Your alter ego is the type of person that doesn't care if he does it well, just that if he gets it done right, By giving life to this alter ego, you'll be able to show up in lots and lots of different ways in your life, more than what you can currently. And then the thing about this and the theory behind the alter ego, right, is that you're creating a bit of a gap between you and what you want and who you are currently to what you want to be. And then by having that alter ego as a bit of a stretch, you start to catch up to it a little bit more too. So you as a person tend to stretch a little bit more towards your alter ego. And then there starts to become a gray line between the two. But yeah, so there's 5 things you can do to build your own alter ego. Thanks for listening.